All right, boys. Week 4, baby. Here we go. How we feeling this week?
Well, got a little rumbling in my stomach for the game Saturday, Alabama,
Yeah, no.
Georgia. It is a makes ball of anxiety just thinking about how crazy that crowd's going to be in
Yeah,
Athens. But that's not
yeah.
why we're here today.
I know, but it's hard not to
Does
feel.
Alabama play this weekend?
Yeah, just the
Yeah,
second biggest game
unfortunately.
of the weekend.
Yeah.
Same time as Penn State, Oregon. Whoever scheduled that stinks.
Oh yeah. What the heck? That's terrible.
But,
Terrible.
anyways, like you
Terrible
said,
scheduling.
not here for college football. Here for a little NFL action, a little DraftKings action. Um, got some interesting games this week. We got a 8:30 kickoff. Which we're not going to talk about tonight, but we get that early morning wake up call,
Oh
a
wow.
little
Yeah.
Steelers action in Germany, I think. But we're going to focus in on the afternoon slate um, tonight and just kind of see how we're feeling. We're going to talk our value picks, core four, optimal lineups, all those things that y'all are accustomed to watching us talk about. But let's kind of go straight into quarterbacks here. Cole, quarterbacks week 4, where do you see value at that position?
All right, I'm starting this off with Caleb Williams at 5,800. Right now, he's ranked as the third best fantasy QB. He's going up against Las Vegas, and 2 out of the 3 weeks they've let up 18 points allowed to 2 quarterbacks. So with how Caleb Williams has been playing, he's not focused on a sophomore slump. Obviously, he's tearing it up right now. So I've got a lot of faith in him performing well against Las Vegas too. Another guy I have is just I'm surprised they put him this low, but also not surprised because he can't throw very well. Is Jalen Hurts at 6,700? I think with his rushing ability, he's going up against the number 24 ranked defense as well. Although they are good against the run, I'm more focused on Jalen Hurts and the tush push.
Push, push.
It's every week, dude. Every week he gets one.
It's became a point now where Sirianni's like, if we're getting to the one, we're running it just to
Yeah,
because it's
just to
our
piss
thing,
people off.
like just to
Yeah.
prove,
Yeah.
And then the last guy I got is Justin Herbert, 6,300, going against the Giants defense. Giants defense is allowing 252 passing yards a game. And if you remember how they did against the Cowboys, I mean, it was just an all-out shootout. So I think Justin Herbert, with how good he's playing this year, is another guy to watch. He's definitely got the weapons to have another big day. So those are my 3 quarterbacks that I've got.
Also, before you jump into this, Gabe, I just realized Cole looks like he's at one of those radio shows at like Baumhauer's. little mic. I love it, dude.
I think we all should start dressing up as like
I
NFL
think
head coaches
I
to
think we
like
should
do
for
this
sure.
thing. That would be funny.
I
Well, I was
love
told I wanted to make it a point this week. I wanted to make it a point because y'all always talk about how you can't hear me. So I figured I might as well wear a good headset and a good microphone. It's right next to my face. And then I was gonna have a little play sheet like this when I was giving my picks. But I
All right,
decided
can we like assign egos? Can I be Mike Ditka? Cole, could you be like Andy Reid? And then Britt, I need you to be Cliff Kingsbury.
got
Like,
it.
can you do that?
I gotta clean my hair up a little bit, but I got it for sure.
I feel like that's what we should do for Halloween this year for our costume episodes. We should do head coaches.
I love it, dude. Except Cliff Kingsbury's only offensive coordinator. You gotta promote me. I gotta get
Flo,
Oh,
you
I
need to be
thought
Mike
he was head
McDaniel.
coach
Mike
still.
McDaniel.
Mike McDaniel's. Get the
Oh,
big
Mike
Mike
big
McDaniel.
glasses.
Yeah. Yes.
That's the route we're going.
All right.
Well, that was a rabbit hole right there, but here we go. Gabe, what you got value wise this week?
So I'm gonna start this off with a trivia question. I was in the $20 Millie Maker last week, and I took a peek at the team that came in first place and the guy that became a millionaire. And I think Cole might know the answer to this question because my dad was absolutely livid with the decision that this guy made to start these 2 players. Can you guess what the stack was that this guy had set as his $1 million lineup?
It's got to be Luther Burden and Caleb Williams.
It was not, actually. Not a bad guess. Caleb Williams scored a lot of points, but even more obscure. It's actually the team that Chicago
I
plays
know.
this week.
Yeah, it's
It is
Vegas and Trey Tucker.
Geno Smith and Trey Tucker. Trey Tucker scored 3 touchdowns, had like 41 points, and Geno had about 27. I mean, he got almost 70 points from 2 players, and I think Trey Tucker was owned in 0.58% of leagues. 0.58%. That guy basically could spread all those points around Trey Tucker scored to any player in his team that played poorly, and it paid off for him. He ended up becoming a millionaire. So I say that to direct us towards my quarterback picks.
To remind us that it's all luck.
Yeah. Well, that don't be turned away from players that you may think have a bad matchup or you're scared to play. So with that being said, Michael Penix, 5,100. He scored 5 points in back-to-back games. He has been absolutely terrible. He's probably going to be low ownership. I expect somewhere in the realm of 3 to 5%. But they're playing Washington at home. They still have good weapons. Bijan, London, Mooney's back, Kyle Pitts. Do you think people are going to be leaning heavy on Michael Penix this week? I don't think so. But that's exactly what people said against Geno Smith. I'll leave it at that. Jackson Dart, 4,500. We've been stands to say that anytime a quarterback is out of the backup price, you have to take him. That's if it's the bare minimum of 4,000. At 4,500, I know it's not a lot different for some of those quarterbacks, but against the Chargers in his first start, I'm not sold that Jackson Dart is going to be as successful as some of these previous guys like Mariota. Mariota has a lot of experience. So does Carson Wentz, and Carson Wentz has a lot of weapons in Minnesota. Jackson Dart's going to be rolled out there with Malik Neighbors, who is a fantastic receiver, but he's also got a rookie running back and a poor offensive line. So I think I'm not leaning towards Jackson Dart this week, but maybe one of you are. And Cole mentioned Caleb Williams, but Drake May at 5,500 is my last quarterback against Carolina. Carolina pretty much shut down Michael Penix. I think Drake May and Michael Penix are a little different when it comes to their skill set. I know Penix can sling it around. Drake May's a little more mobile, so I think you're going to get a little bit of rushing value with Drake May. But Carolina is ranked first against QBs. I think that might be a little bit due to the fact that Michael Penix had 3 fantasy points last week, kind of bringing Carolina down or bringing them up on their defense side. So that's my 3 quarterbacks.
Well, let me float a question in here real quick, Flo, before you name yours. Sorry for interrupting you. We got Spencer Rattler at 4,700. Who would you go with between Spencer Rattler and Jackson Dart?
I'm going to go with Spencer Rattler because of the fact that the Chargers are going to dominate that game at the line of scrimmage. They're going to run the ball with Hampton and probably do a little ball control action, and I just don't see the New York being able to get it rolling. With Buffalo, Buffalo is going to blow New Orleans out. I mean, it's obvious, but Rattler, that game is that in Buffalo or is that in New Orleans? Is that in Buffalo, Cole?
It's at Buffalo, yeah.
It's in Buffalo, yeah.
Yeah.
That's gonna be win number 1 for the Saints, maybe.
Buffalo is high flying. Buffalo is going to sling it around with Josh Allen. They have a good run game, but it's different schemes there. You know how Harbaugh is. He's Michigan, how he was at Michigan, how he's been in the Chargers. He's going to dominate the run game. So I'm leaning more towards Rattler. I think he'll get more opportunities after Buffalo scores, and I just don't think that they're going to try and milk the clock and run it out like the Chargers probably will.
Yeah, I think I lean a little different. I would probably play Jackson Dart because he's not going to get yanked. I think if Buffalo gets up by 21 early, you saw last week Sal got in a little bit, threw it around, I think 2 or 3 passes, so not a lot, but I think that's my concern. If Buffalo gets out early, do they just pull him? I mean,
yep.
I could see that happening, just trying to test and see what they got from a backup standpoint, where I think Jackson Dart is going to be the starter throughout the game, no matter how bad he is. So I think there's more opportunity there. It's a little bit of a safer pick because I think Buffalo is going to blow them out. So I'd lean Jackson Dart.
Yep.
No offense to you, Cole, and the Saints, but they suck.
I can't wait, man, for that first win of the year. It's going to be so sweet. Yeah. Nobody's going to suck.
No, yeah, well, you're right about that.
You're right about that.
Even me, I don't see it coming, but I believe it. I'm never going to go into a Sunday saying we're going to lose. So I'm going to hold faith that maybe this weekend we'll win one,
Yeah, what's the Shawshank Redemption about hope? It's something dangerous. Let's just put it that way. I
I
would
think it's the
not base
hope
my
that gets
Saturday.
you. I think
Yeah, the
it's,
hope that gets you. You're going to be taking a nap midway through that Saints game on Saturday,
uh-huh.
unfortunately.
Who said that? Did Morgan Freeman say that?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure.
I think so.
I won't spend too long on quarterback value. I've got Geno Smith with you, Gabe. I think that's an awesome opportunity against Chicago.
Oh, I don't have Geno Smith. I'm not saying that. I don't have Geno Smith,
Oh
but
yeah, you're
he
saying
was
again.
the
Yeah,
one
my
in the
fault.
Millie Maker. He was the
My
one that won
my
it
fault.
in the
That's right.
Millie.
That's right. Well, I have Geno Smith, as you can tell by my hat this week, baby. Go Geno. Go Raiders. So if you look at the Raiders just from an offensive standpoint, they've only had one rushing touchdown this year. Geno has 7 touchdown passes this year. So for the most part, most of their touchdowns are coming through the air. So I like that trend to continue. And if you look at Chicago's defense against quarterbacks, they're 30th. JJ McCarthy had 21 fantasy points. I think that's enough to tell you that a veteran like Geno can surely go in there and get 18 to 20 against Chicago, and Golf had 37 against them. So I like the opportunity for Geno this week. He had a great week last week, so hopefully he can capitalize on that momentum a little bit. And then I also had the opposite quarterback in that game, Caleb Williams. Y'all talked about him already a little bit. And then my final pick, just because of the price, is Jackson Dart. I mean, I think you've got to, if you spend less here at quarterback, just hoping for value, you can spend it elsewhere. But Jackson Dart at 4,500. It's a home game, so at least he's not on the road in his first start. He's got some weapons with neighbors. I think Cam Scadaboo's reliable in the passing game, especially for a young quarterback, checking it down to him. Maybe Scadaboo can run somebody over and get in the end zone for a touchdown. But uh, Jackson Dart's kind of my third option there. I probably won't use him much, but I do think there's value just based off price and opportunity there. But let's kind of shift to running backs here. Um, I'll let Gabe lead us into the running back value. What do you see out there right now?
Yeah. So we had the Najee Harris injury this past week. So
Yep.
it's about to be volume city for Marianne Hampton at 5,900. And this week you're going to get him at a price that will not be there for long, especially the way the Chargers play. I imagine after this week, his salary will be somewhere up in the upper 6,000s or 7s after he scores a touchdown or does what he does to New York this week. It's going to be, I think it'll be a dominating performance for Marianne Hampton, and he'll catch a lot of passes.
Yeah.
So I like him a lot. And then Alvin Kamara at 6,100 against Buffalo, just due to the pass catching. They'll be down early and often in that game, so he'll have at least 6-7 catches, I'm sure, before the third quarter of that game. And my last one with Bill Krosky, questionable, but did not practice, is Chris Rodriguez. He actually started that game last week.
Yep.
He had 11 carries, and he's one touchdown away from paying out that salary, or very close to it if Bill Krosky doesn't play. Jermaine Nichols is kind of a pass catching back. He used to play with the Titans, so I'm familiar with his game. He was not the goal line back. He was more of a third down back. So one thing about Scadaboo and Jackson Dart, I know one of you guys may touch on why you like him, but one reason I don't like him is just because of my concerns with them being able to move the ball against the Chargers. That's my only. It's my only issue with starting a guy at 5,500 who he's going to need about 16, 17 points, Scabby will. And he played really well against Kansas City. But I think Kansas City, their defense has been very underwhelming this year. They have not been good. So that kind of turns me off from Scadaboo this week against the Chargers.
I like it. I kind of echo you, Gabe. I had Omari and Hampton. I think if you just look, Najee going down last week, he had 19 carries. He also had 7 targets in the passing game. Volume is going to be there. And we always talk about value by volume. I think Omari and Hampton, like you said, is going to jump in price this week. So get him this week while you can. He may be high ownership, but at that price, it's hard to go away from him. The second guy I actually have is we've touched on him in the past, but I have Tony Pollard this week at 5,600. Reason being, I think that this game is actually going to be competitive for the Titans, where they can run it consistently and kind of play that balanced approach and not be playing from behind. I think that's been one of the problems for the Titans this year is just having to play from behind, and even playing from behind. Tony Pollard's number 6 in rushing attempts this season. So I kind of like him. He scored his first touchdown last week, I believe. So I would really, obviously, would love to see him in the end zone this week as well. And Houston is actually, as good as their defensive line is and their pass rushing, they are 24th to running backs this season. So I think Tony Pollard could be a low ownership sneaky pick this week at 5,600. That's kind of my second value at running back. And then the third one, you hit on it earlier. One of us is going to talk about Cam Scataboom, as you want to refer to him. He's at 5,500. Obviously, Tracy's out, so he's going to get most of the carries. You'll see a couple Singletary random drives, but it'll be Cam's show if he can.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. If Jackson can give him anything, and they can loosen up that line of scrimmage a little bit, I think it's going to be an opportunity for Cam to do some things. He had 10 carries last week, 60 yards and a touchdown. He also, this is a crazy stat, he led the team in targets with 8. He led the team in receptions with 6, and he led the team in yards with 61. So in all passing categories, he led the team, and that's from the running back position. So I just think from that alone, you might be wanting to take a stab at him and just see if something can break there, and maybe he can get some end zone. Yeah. But that's my
down, like you said. Yeah, it just depends on the script. But yeah,
I agree with absolutely. And that's, I think I touched on script here for a second. I think that's one of the things that we've been trying to feel our way out these first couple of weeks is like who's actually competitive, who's not that good. Mm-hmm. Like you look at the Saints Buffalo game, I think that script is going to be whack, but it also is a good opportunity for Alvin Kamara to get some pass catches. So I do like that as a value play for sure.
That's the blueprint for $1 million lineup when the script is bad, like Las Vegas and Washington last week. That's why. Yeah, that's how that guy became a millionaire.
100%. Yeah. So that's kind of where I'm sitting this week. Cole, what you got value at running back?
I'll tell you what, we need whenever we all three agree on a person, we need like a trust the print stamp of approval.
No, I think we need I think we need a red alert buzzer that says,
yes, 100%. The panic button. Hit the panic button.
Yeah. I also have a Marion Hampton at 5,900. Giants defense is allowing 156 rushing yards per game. Mm-hmm. I feel like with Najee's injury, he's the clear cut 100%. He's going to be in almost every play. He's going to get a lot of the snaps. So he's going to get a lot of touches, value by volume. So I got a trivia question for you guys. It may be a little easy, maybe a little tough. Let's see. Who ranks 32nd in rushing yards allowed per game?
Chicago.
No, it's oh gosh, I know this. I should know this.
Don't take too much time. We're on the clock.
Yeah, who is it?
The answer is the Buffalo Bills, allowing 156 yards per game. So Alvin Kamara at 6,100 is also another good pick that I'm going with. Also, Rattler stinks, so I expect him to get a lot of touches. Also, expect a lot of check down Charlies going on. So, if you've watched the Saints, Kellen Moore does not want Spencer Rattler throwing more than 10 yards at a time. So that's why Juwan Johnson's been getting a lot of looks. That's why Chris Olave's open on the slants. That's why Alvin Kamara, I'm expecting to have a good day as well. Last guy, he's kind of higher tier, but James Cook at 7,100. Saints defense is mid-tier at stopping the run, but they're also allowing 30 points per game. And through 3 games so far, James Cook's already got 4 touchdowns. Yeah. He scored 2 rushing touchdowns in week 1, so he's going to be getting a lot of the goal line touches. So if they're allowing that many points per game, I expect him to be in the red zone a lot. So I'm going with James Cook as another one of my guys, and that's the only 3 that I got.
Awesome. All right, let's jump to receiver. Gabe, what you got?
So circling on 2 guys on the same team, you got Darnell Mooney at 4,700 and Drake London at 5,700.
Going all Mooney came back Atlanta.
Mooney came back last week and had 10-plus targets in that game in his first game. He was like 3,700 maybe, or maybe it was 4,000. I can't remember, but he was really cheap, and he's 4,700 this week. Obviously, coverages is rolling to Drake London. He's even cheap. He's even below 6,000. but Mooney is going to be heavily involved, and they're slinging that ball around in Atlanta. And so I'm just so I want to start Atlanta offense so bad because I know that they have the potential, but they just haven't really broke through yet. I know they will at some point. And then the last guy I have is, I'm not going to go too deep on wide receivers. I'll let you guys hit it. But Luke McCaffrey at 3,400 for the Washington Commanders. Terry McLaurin's got a quad injury, and he has not practiced this week. He's going to get a second opinion. So I'm kind of out on McLaurin this week. I don't think he's going to play. Debo Samuel obviously is your chalky pick there at like 6,000. He's probably at a really affordable price considering McLaurin is out, because he's still questionable, but I expect him to be out. So like his price is at a point where he hasn't been ruled out yet. So McLaurin there, but Luke McCaffrey, 3,400. He had 3 catches for 56 yards last week and a touchdown. It seems like with De'Ami Brown exiting, has opened up a spot for him to step in after they drafted him last year. That's it for me.
Sweet. Yeah, I'll piggyback off you because I also had Luke McCaffrey this week with Scary Terry likely out at 3,400 against Atlanta. So maybe time to hit the panic button there. So you basically hit everything I was going to talk about on Luke, so I'm not going to spend too much time there. Second guy I have is Demarcus Robinson for the San Francisco 49ers is back from suspension. So he will be playing this week, which is huge for San Francisco because Pearsall hadn't practiced with a knee injury. Kittle's obviously out for a while. And then Jennings hasn't practiced either with ankle and shoulder problems. So you're really thin. I think he's a must play if these guys are out. Like if Ricky Pearsall can't go, Jennings can't go, Demarcus Robinson home against the Jaguars at 3,500 is a value by desperation play. We're going to change it up a little bit. Value by desperation there.
It sounds like the San Francisco Braves down there, man.
Tore up. Yeah. And the crazy thing is they're 3-0. Like that's the wild thing is all these dudes are getting hurt and they're still winning games somehow. My last pick for value at receiver is Sterling Shepard at 4,000 with the injury to Mike Evans. Yeah. I think Sterling Shepard is going to fill that slot for him, or that spot for him. Last week he had 5 targets, 4 catches for 80 yards. And with Mike Evans going out, I think it's an opportunity for a lower salaried guy to take a step up and level up. Could be priced a little bit different had they known Mike Evans was going to be out for a while, if that makes sense. So I like Sterling Shepard at 4,000 there. Cole, what do you have?
My lineup's going to be heavy Chargers this week.
Yep.
I'm going to start off with Quentin Johnson at 5,500. So the Giants are allowing 27 points per game, and they're allowing 405 total yards per game. So I feel like with Ladd McConkey and Keenan Allen having his resurgence year, that a lot of the attention is going to those guys, and it opens up a lot of opportunities for Quentin Johnson to have one-on-one matchups and things like that to where he can get open more. But not only that, he's figured out his case of the dropsies. He's not dropping the ball as much anymore. He stopped catching it with his body. He's catching it with his hands now. And a lot of people think that there's a Freaky Friday scenario going on between him and Marvin Harrison.
I think so too. I agree.
That's the joke on X right now, is the case of the dropsies has kind of changed. But Quentin Johnson, he's just like I've said this every week so far. I think he's just got that build, man, that just looks like a star receiver. So I'm gonna keep rolling with him because he's had multiple great weeks.
He's off the bus team, huh? He's first team off the bus. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, like, right now he's playing like it. He's making people get back on the bus. So the next guy that I'm shocked y'all didn't mention, because he's coming off another week with another touchdown catch, and he's a big Titans guy, is Elik Eomanor at 3,900. And the reason I'd be picking him is because of the price point. Yep. If he's catching touchdowns, 3,900, that's better than a lot of these other guys at 3,900. That's for sure. And he's just a touchdown magnet, man. He's huge. He's a big guy. He's a big target for a rookie receiver in Cam Ward, who's trying to find guys in the red zone.
Well, Cam Ward has said that him and Elik have had the best chemistry through camp. They're trying to force the ball to Calvin Ridley, but it's obvious that he likes Elik more when he really needs a catch. They're going to Elik, not Calvin Ridley. Calvin Ridley has the dropsies too. Anyway, that next keep going, Cole.
But yeah, I mean, you watch in college, Elik's very, very talented. I mean, he caused a lot of matchup problems for a lot of people, and that's especially Travis Hunter. So those are the two guys I've got on value, but I also want to talk about possible guys that you don't really expect to be making in, or not really expecting to go off because they're coming off of injuries. Xavier Worthy's going to be back this week for the Chiefs, but they're expecting him to ease back into the lineup, is what I'm reading. But somebody has to catch the passes from Patrick Mahomes. And I think if they get desperate, Xavier Worthy's going to be playing a lot more than they think he will. Another guy is Chris Godwin. I think is supposed to be back this week.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yes. And he's going to become, obviously, wide receiver number 2 behind Ibuka. And we'll figure out if Emeka Ibuka's really good or if it's just Mike Evans getting all the attention and Ibuka being able to get open. But depending on how Chris Godwin performs. So those are a couple of guys that I found intriguing. Xavier Worthy's 5,800. I wouldn't take the chance on him, but I have looked at it and thought about it. The Ravens defense he's going against has a lot of talent, but they also allow 266 passing yards a game.
Yeah, they don't play well.
So they're a little lost out there right now. And so those are the guys that I've got listed as my value picks.
Yeah, trivia question for you. How many touchdown passes does Cam Ward have this season?
1.
2. And they're all 2.
Oh, yeah, that's true. He does have 2.
I was about to say he's got 2.
He's got both of them. So obvious that he likes them in the red zone. So I think that's another great value there, because if there's an opportunity, it looks like he's getting the chance. So I do like that call for sure. Let's jump to tight ends, though. I'll start us since I haven't started us yet. I've got Brenton Strange at 3,200 against San Francisco. Last week, he had 7 targets, 6 catches, 61 yards. So here's some kind of – Jacksonville's been all sorts of weird from a receiving, pass-catching standpoint this year. Brenton Strange is currently 2nd in targets behind Brian Thomas Jr. He's currently the leader in yardage for Jacksonville at 137 yards. Hasn't had that touchdown yet, but if he gets a touchdown, we're talking about, I mean, if he keeps the pace that he's at, we're talking about extreme value there if he can just find the end zone, which is what you're banking on all these players. Hopefully one of them gets to the end zone, right? But at 3,200, if the trends continue, I mean, 6 catches, 61 yards, that's 12.1 points. That's way above where he needs to be at that salary point. So I like Brenton Strange this week at 3,200. Another guy is Hunter Henry at 4,000. I've stuck my neck out for Hunter Henry a couple times over the past 2 years, and he's either awesome or he sucks. So he's kind of a boomer bust guy. Last week, 11 targets, 8 receptions, 90 yards, 2 touchdowns. He's playing in 80% of the snaps every week, and Carolina's currently 23rd to tight end position. So at 4,000, Hunter Henry this week, I think there's opportunity. Hopefully he can find the end zone against Carolina, and he'll have more value than that salary is projected. So my final one is, and this is depending on Will Dissly's being out. You talked about the Giants, how bad their defense is in the secondary and how many passing yards they've allowed. His name, and I'm going to butcher this one, so I think it's Oronde Gadsden II.
Yeah.
I think. But last week he had 7 targets, 5 receptions, 46 yards. So he had 9.6 points, and his salary right now is at 2,600. So if he can get anything close to that, he is going to have extreme value based off where his salary is. Now, this is just going to depend, though, on Will Dissly. If Will Dissly is out, I think he's a no-brainer. Put him in your lineups. It's against the Giants defense, who's been suspect all year long. I think he could be a sneaky low ownership pick going into week 4. But that's my 3 tight ends. Gabe, what do you have this week?
I think, so my favorite value play this week is Dallas Goedert at 3,900 against Tampa. He's back from his injury. He played last week and played a large majority of the snaps. Jalen Hurts loves throwing to Dallas Goedert for some reason, not as much Calcaterra, but he loves throwing to Dallas Goedert. So I like him a lot. I'm not going to touch on Kyle Pitts' pause very much, but he's 3,600. His price keeps going down. And for obvious reasons, he hasn't gone off yet. He hasn't had that game, but he's still sticking around, 7 to 10 points. He's just kind of hovering there around where his salary's placed at. And so kind of waiting for that breakthrough to happen. But this is my play that I will be using in a lot of lineups. And it's probably going to turn you guys off from it. But the Carolina Panthers. Jatavion Sanders is out this week. He's doubtful. Tommy Tremble, 2,700 is who I'm leaning on.
Hey, he was awesome in the couple games we picked him with Sanders out last year, or awesome compared to his salary. So
the way that Carolina runs their offense is very obvious that they rotate a lot of guys in the passing game at the receiver position and also the tight end. But when you get a guy who's going to step in with somebody injured, if there's a rotation like that at a position like tight end, like there's one tight end now. There's not 3, there's not 4. Like receivers, there's like 5 or 6 receivers that can rotate. When one of those tight ends goes out, he's going to be on the field for a large majority of the snaps. And if you look at Sanders' games this year, he's been 2 to 3 targets. Trimble's been 2 to 3 targets. But there was one game Sanders had 9 targets and 7 catches for like 60 yards.
Yeah.
So it was clear that when he wants to get the tight end the ball, he will. So I like Trimble. I think he'll be on the field a lot. 2,700, hoping for a touchdown there. He only needs like 7 to 8 points to produce against a team that's ranked 29th against tight ends in New England. So give me Tommy Trimble. Definitely a little foreshadowing there for my core 4.
I like it, and I like what you're talking about there from a offensive snap. I think that the Chargers still run out multiple tight ends. They played 4. They played 4 last week, so I think that Trimble definitely has a higher upside as far as offensive snap count. So I definitely like that for sure. Cole, what you got?
All right, guys. Another trivia question. This one's a little easier. Who's ranked as the 3rd best tight end right now?
Shoot, I don't want to take too much time here. I'm kind of cheating right now. I'm going to say Tyler Warren.
I'm going to say Hunter Henry.
Hunter Henry, baby. Hunter Henry. Obviously, that 34-point performance last week's kind of carried him up there, but I've got him at 4,000. He's going up against Carolina, who's allowed the 8th most yards to tight ends. And also a fun fact is he's got a 22.5% first read percentage right now, which means when Drake May snaps the ball about a quarter of the time, he's instantly saying, "Where's Hunter Henry?" Mm-hmm. So that's intriguing for me, especially against a bad Carolina team. And tight ends have been tricky to me all day. I was thinking about who my tight ends could be. I wrote down a couple names, but I scratched through them, so I don't have a lot of information on them. But Brenton Strange is one that I wrote down at 3,200. He had a great game this past week, or a good game for a tight end this week. Then another guy is Harold Fannin Jr., who I'm still a believer in. But David Njoku is also somebody that I feel like he's gonna get back to his old self as well and take some more of those picks. So, like I said, I only have one real tight end that I circled for value. But to touch on your point, Gabe, Tommy Tremble did get a lot of looks in that Carolina game. I feel like I heard his name a lot more than he got catches. That's for sure. Kyle Pitts also is a guy that got a few looks, but Michael Penix just couldn't get him the ball. And it was definitely frustrating watching as somebody that's got Kyle Pitts on the season long, not being able to get the ball and produce, especially against a team like that. But I mean, there's a lot of opportunities for tight ends to perform that need to get better at least and improve their stats. So
yeah,
those are my thoughts on tight end.
To echo you on Fannin Jr., I know Njoku is questionable right now. I'm sure he'll play. You know how load management is for these guys during the week.
I think they cleared him.
But
I think they cleared him because I don't see a questionable next to his name.
Okay, he was questionable this morning when I checked. So never mind. Moot point. I'm out on him. No, I'm just kidding. All right, let's jump to core 4. Gabe, I'll let you hammer it first.
Yeah. All right, so we're going Drake May, 5,500 due to his rushing upside. I really like Michael Penix, but I trust Drake May. So the offense in New England, obviously, they spread the ball around a lot. There's not a guy in New England I like as a pass catcher, but I do like the ability for Drake May to have a lot of options there, especially with Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper and his weapons like Diggs and Butte and Ramondre Stevenson, Trayvon Henderson. Like, there's a lot of weapons in New England. They're not, elite weapons, but they are, little slightly above average. Anyway, so I like Drake May against Carolina. And then I like Amarian Hampton. I feel like a lot of people are going to like Amarian Hampton this weekend. Probably close to 40% ownership, like we saw Jordan Mason last week. I mean, he was up there, and half the teams on the slate had him. And Darnell Mooney, 4,700. I think we'll get a lot of Drake London love at 5,700. So I'm kind of going contrary there, 4,700 to Mooney. And then Tommy Tremble, 2,700 is my last core 4 play with Carolina.
I like it. Cole, what you got?
So my core 4 is going to be Caleb Williams. It's going to be Amarian Hampton. It's going to be Elick Ayomanor and Hunter Henry.
That is probably the cheapest I've ever heard you go on your core 4. I love it, baby.
Well, I like it.
I had to change it up a little bit, man. Y'all got on me about having good players in my core 4. Which is supposed to be people you build your. I get what the point of core 4 is, but I'm trying to readjust my method when picking my teams by who I expect to score a touchdown.
Yeah.
Which may seem stupid, but just
not stupid. It's not stupid. People place those bets all the time. First touchdown, anytime touchdown. That's reasonable.
Yeah. I like it.
I mean, those are my 4 guys that I've got, and I've tried to go cheaper for you guys, just to make y'all happy, just to please you.
You're trying to win money. You understand? Look, you're trying to win money. You're not trying to do it for me. You're doing it for yourself. You're being a better person for yourself, not us.
I'm trying to be on the TikTok page where they're like, "Oh, he finally got an A+ grade and not an F because CeeDee Lamb broke his ankle on the first play of the game."
Yeah. What do you got?
I got Brenton Strange. I've got Omarion Hampton. I've got Geno Smith, and I've got Quentin Johnson as my core 4 for this week. However, I will say this. Depending on how the San Francisco wide receivers shake out this week, I am really leaning on Demarcus Robinson as a potential core 4, depending on how everything plays out there. But let's move to Plum Pick. Anybody got one this week?
Plum
Can
Pick.
you feel it? I'll go. What do you think? If that makes you feel better. This is a guy that has not been named tonight.
The whole podcast?
Yes. Okay. Parker Washington, 3,700. Okay. So hear this. Parker Washington was the leading receiver for the Jacksonville Jaguars in week 2, 76 yards. Week 3, Parker Washington led the team in targets with 11. Now, week 4 is where he brings it all together, and he has a unbelievable Trey Tucker type of week, baby. Parker Washington.
Yeah. Against San Francisco. Okay.
That is my
I like it, actually.
Pick.
I actually like it. I'm going to have to get some Parker Washington exposure out there just because of that. Now that you've said it, if you put it out into the atmosphere, if I hear it, I kind of have to put somebody in there.
Got to take a deep dive, baby.
I heard somebody talking about he's a Bears fan, and he was like, "This is the week that Ashton Jeanty breaks through. It's just the Bears." And I was like, "Oh,
yes.
why'd you say that?" It's like, "No, I just
I've thought about it." I had that same thing, dude. I said, I really want to go Ashton Jeanty for some reason this week, dude. Oh man.
At home against Chicago, break a long touchdown or something. Like I know. I feel like I got to.
He's gonna kill Geno Smith because I've picked him. He's gonna run for 3 touchdowns this week.
My plum pick is Michael Penix. I'm trying to think of who I want to take, but I'm going to take Michael Penix because people are down on him, and you saw what Geno Smith did to Washington last week, and this game's at home, so I'm going to go Michael Penix.
Yeah, Michael Penix has got a lot to prove. He had a really rough week.
2 rough weeks. He's had back-to-back rough. Well, rough weeks fantasy-wise. That one game they won when he had 5 points. This one they lost and he scored 5 points. So yeah.
When I saw that they were calling for Coco Chains to come back in, I was like, man, Penix must be really doing bad, and he was doing really bad. And I watched that game, and I was telling Gabe, I was like, Penix doesn't even look like the same person anymore. Like, I don't know if it's a confidence thing or a coaching thing, but he looks rough. But my plum pick, they say certain parts of your body can speak to you, and whenever you're hungry and your stomach rumbles, they say, "Oh, my stomach's talking to me." Well, my plums are talking to me right now, and they're saying, "Xavier Worthy, pick Xavier Worthy this week." So I'm going with Xavier Worthy because I just feel like he's gonna get behind the defense one time and he's gonna take one about 60, 70 yards.
Well, let me jump to the next segment then, because here's my no touchy segment for this week. Xavier Worthy, my man's wearing a harness to support his shoulder. I am 100% out on Xavier Worthy this week. That is a big time no touchy for me. Oh man, no touch on that one for sure. But I do like it. Hey, confidence builder. I love it, baby.
Sir, are we moving to no touchies now?
Yeah, let's just go ahead and hit it. Let's just hit it real quick.
My no touchy is gonna be Jackson Dart against the Chargers.
Yeah, that's fair.
I'm looking at.
Could be more obvious of a no touchy.
No, it's not. I mean, we talked about we like backup quarterbacks and rookies or whatever. I saw Neighbors is questionable.
I didn't see that. Yeah,
with a knee injury. I know he's limited. I expect him to play, but New York with Brian Dable, I don't really trust him as far as I can throw him, which is not very far. He's a large man. But I'm out. I'm out on there. What I see happening is I like to always when I pick my team and I think about game script, I get real deep. And like what I'm envisioning happening is New York starts to struggle. Neighbors has 0 catches. Neighbors gets hit in the ribs. Neighbor says, "I don't want to play anymore this week," and then it's just downhill from there. And it's like, what does Jackson Dart do? He has to fight his way out with Wan'Dale Robinson and Darius Slayton, and that's just a place I don't want to be this week. I do not want to be on that side of the Giants. But that's my no touchy.
All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna break it down for y'all. We got 22.6. We got 17.4. We got 4.9. Take a guess on who that player is.
Samuel.
Debo Samuel. If
he's
you pick
back.
Debo Samuel at this point, if you pick this at this point, you're asking for it. He's going to always be there. That's just something. It's going to be a continuous on the list. So whenever we do this, obviously, pencil in Debo Samuel. Another guy that I've got that I'm not a believer in, I don't think I'll ever be a believer in until he can show me that he can break off more than 5 yards a run, is Cam Scatterboo. I don't believe in him. I feel like he's just a glorified fullback running the ball, which is fine. You can do that, but you're not gonna get a pick out of me for running 5 yards a pop or less.
I like it.
At most 5 yards a pop. So
I like it. All right, let's go optimals. I've got the AI optimal lineup for this week. This is our first 2 tight end week from the computer. We've got Drake May at quarterback. We've got Cam Scatterboo at running back, Christian McCaffrey at running back, Chris Olave, Puka Nacua, Jacoby Myers, Tyler Warren, Hunter Henry. That's your 2 tight ends. And then the Lions defense. Projection for that score is 143.6 points. First 2 tight end of the season. So I'll jump into my optimal lineup this week. Obviously, this is a rough draft until injuries are solidified out there for this week. But I've got Geno Smith, Omarion Hampton, Christian McCaffrey, Quentin Johnson, Chris Olave, Puka Nacua, Brenton Strange, Cam Scatterboo, and the Commanders defense going for an optimal of 141. Or 140. So just barely behind computer picks there, which means nothing because computers don't have feelings or plums, so they can't make picks. So
last year, the computer was so heavy on Drake London, and I feel like they've switched now. Yeah, they're glazing Christian McCaffrey. Computers really like Christian McCaffrey, glazing him
at an $8,500 salary.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
Yeah. You want me to go next? Or you want to go?
Yeah, go ahead.
All right, I'm going with the computer.
Touchdown.
Oh my gosh, I'm going with the computer. Charbonnet's on my freaking bench. You gotta be kidding me. All right, I'm going. You just ruined my night. I'm
It's
going
a holding.
Drake
You're
May.
good.
Is a holding?
Yep, you're good.
Oh, you just made my night so much better. All right, Drake May, 5,500. Marion Hampton, 5,900. Alvin Kamara, Nico Collins, Darnell Mooney. Got my core four there. Puka Nakua, Tommy Trimble, 2,700. And then I'm going heavy chalk with Saquon Barkley at 7,600 against Tampa. They don't let up a lot of rushing yards there, but I'm taking the chance. And then I'm going with the second cheapest defense on the slate, which is the Cleveland Browns, which is probably a terrible pick. And I might end up taking Saquon Barkley down and going with a different defense. But Cleveland actually has one of the best defenses in the NFL.
Yep.
According to the stats. And I know Detroit has one of the best offenses, and it's in Detroit. So I kind of just have Saquon in there right now. It's kind of a feel it out, see how I feel when the game starts. Yeah. I might change that later. That's what I got.
It's going to be Ashton Genty.
I know. I could take Genty in there and just bump the defense up. Oh, so go ahead, Cole. After Cole gives his lineup, then I'm going to wrap it up with one more thing about defenses, and then
perfect.
I'll let Cole go.
All right, so at quarterback, 5,800, I'm going with Caleb Williams. Running back 1, I'm going with James Cook III at 7,100. RB2, I'm going with Alvin Kamara at 6,100. Wide receiver 1, Elick Ayomanor at 3,900. Quentin Johnson at 5,500. Puka Nakua, I think we all three agreed on that one, 7,900. Hunter Henry at 4,000. And then I've got Amon-Ra St. Brown at 7,300 at my flex. And then I've got the Tennessee Titans defense going up against a subpar C.J. Stroud.
Let's go, baby. Good call on that one.
Right.
Gabe, defensive strategy. What you got?
All right, so I've been a stand for taking the cheapest defense on the slate. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. So I wanted to shout out to the guy that won the $1 million last week. He had the Vikings defense. And if you know anything about last week, it was an insane week for defensive touchdowns. Blocked field goals, return for touchdowns, interceptions, fumbles. The Vikings defense, I think, had 3 defensive touchdowns last week. Was that right? Did they have 3?
I think that's right.
Yeah. And I saw they were owned in like 3% of DraftKings leagues. So a lot of people, they don't pay up for defenses, but sometimes paying up for defenses does pay off. I'm man enough to admit it that if you pay up for the Broncos D and they have 3 defensive touchdowns, hey, I'll take my chances with the cheaper defenses more times than not. But it is they will win you $1 million sometimes. They're more expensive defenses.
I like it, baby. Learning something new every day, baby. I love it. Yep. Well, that kind of wraps us up this week. I know we went a little bit long tonight, but sometimes time flies when you're having fun. You start laughing a little bit. Hopefully you guys laughed a little with us too. But good luck in week 4, and we will catch you in week 5. We're out. See y'all.